Hey everyone, welcome to another video on Blender Geometry Nodes. In this video, we are going to see about sample index node and its capability of teleporting any object to a particular location. I release new videos on a weekly basis. Please subscribe to my channel so that you will be notified when I upload a new one. This is Jay from CJ Academy. Let's begin. Okay, I have the default cube and my custom workspace. I have covered about this in a separate video. I'll share the link in the description. We will need the group output, so we'll keep it here. Let's bring in the sample index node. Okay, so if we see the sample index node, it takes a geometry input and a value and index input, but it gives only value output. Okay, it never gives a geometry output. So this is very similar to the Raycast node. So you have to use it on another geometry context. You take an input geometry, but you don't get output geometry, so you have to use it in another geometry context. For that reason, it's clear we need two geometries. One is for the input and one for the output. So let's bring in grid and sphere. Okay. Change the location of the sphere using this information from the sample index. The source input geometry is grid node. Okay. So to see both together, let's bring in the joint geometry, and to get better control on this, let's bring in transform geometry here as well, transform geometry, and from the transform geometry, shift right click, take a output from here and add it to the joint geometry. You don't see it because it is small. You see here, so the grid is small. Okay, so let's reduce the size of this to 0.25. Okay, and let's increase this to 4 times, so that let's increase this to 4 times so we get better output, and control the overall size here, maybe 4 to get a bigger space, or maybe 2 would be enough. Number of vertices 12. What we are going to do here is use the information from this geometry, grid geometry, and change the position of the UV sphere. Okay, let's bring in the set position node, and for the offset we are going to give this value. We are going to take the position value from here. Okay, position geometry read nodes position. So I have covered about the read nodes in a separate video. I'll share the link in the description, you can take a look. So position we are going to connect. So before that, I'll change here. Position is a XYZ value, so it's a vector value. Notice how this has changed. If I go for float, it's any value, but if I say vector, it's identifying as a position value or any of the vector value. So we are going to take the points vector information. In this case, it's position value. Okay, and use this to offset. Okay, now you see 0th index information, position information is fed into the offset value. So that means this 0 index is where the UV sphere currently in. So to see this, we'll bring in the viewer node. Right click, link to viewer, taking the value. Let's take the geometry from here. So this is a viewer, and we are actually feeding in index value, right? So let's bring in the index node. Okay, index information. Let's change the overlay settings. Like this, add this. Okay, we are adding the index value. Okay, this is changed because of that. Okay, viewer node. So now it should work because it was connected earlier to the vector value. So yeah, now it is clear. Okay, so if you see, this is 0th index. Now if I hide this, you can see that is where the sphere is. So let's test this 132. Let's go back here to 132. Okay, and should be in this corner. You can see. And similarly, what is the other corner of it is 11. Okay, let's hide this. It will go to that corner. See. So similarly, if I just move this around, you can see for each index, it will move, okay, to that points position. So if you see, this is points position. Now if I change this to edge, it goes to the edge value. See, it will place itself on the edge. And if I go for face, it will put itself in the center of the face. So this is one way to place an object in a center of the face. So instance on points with the point distribution also does the same thing, but we don't have to go for that big setup just to put one object on a face. When it is more than one, you can go for instancing. If it is just one, you can simply use the sample index. Okay, face corner, spline is not applicable, instance is not applicable here. So let's put this back to point, as we know which point, which index it is. So currently, if you see, this is 84, and it's actually here. Okay, got it? Okay, now we are going to use this setup to do some kind of a teleporting effect. Okay, to achieve the teleporting effect, you need the compare node. So let's bring in the compare node. So compare node outputs only a Boolean value. Okay, so we're going to plug in the index value of it. Going to plug this in here. So let's move all these a little bit out and plug this in here. And index is actually integer value. So let's move that to integer. Connect again. Okay, and result will be a Boolean value. Okay, Boolean value always naturally connects with a selection node. So you connect this to selection node. Okay, now okay, I have done the view node. So you can see already there is a transformation happening. Okay, I'll move this to less than, and I increase the value here. You can see kind of teleporting effect. Okay, so what's happening here is I'll move this out of the wireframe mode. So here you have taken this 84th index point vector information that is here, and what you are controlling here is the selection of individual index. And index here, in this case, when it is connected here, it is in this geometry context. Okay, but when it is connected here, the flow, you always have to be careful with the fields because it differs where it is connected to. Every time, based on that point or the geometry where it is connected, the geometry context changes. So here the geometry is okay, coming from here. Okay, but here the geometry is coming from here. So this particular point, wherever it is connected, based on the geometry changes. So here the geometry is actually grid. Grid information is what we are seeing, but as you are connected this here, the geometry is actually the UV sphere. And what we are doing here is individual point, every index. Okay, every index So each index we are deciding whether this is in the selection or not. Based on that, each index means each point in gradually transferring or resetting to the original position. So now if it less than means, if it is yes, then it is moving to this particular position. So if you see, so I move it to 0. Okay, I'll move to grid node, so it'll be seeing easy to see. So less than 0, nothing. Less than 1 means 0th index is moving to 84th index position of grid node. Okay, grid node. So now let's see 84 where it's here. Okay, you see. So now all the points, all the points of the sphere, UV sphere, will gradually come to this position. I'll increasing. So less than, so less than, less than, less than, so less than all of them. Now all of them are moved. Now UV sphere around 496 indexes it has. So that's why we are here. Got it? So if I change this, so then the reverse is the truth. So greater than means, so whatever is greater than that, that is moved to, so this is actually completed at 0, or greater than 0 means 1. So 0th index is still here. So greater than -1 means everything is transferred. So you can use this to kind of teleport to any of the location in the grid. This is kind of a cool effect. Of course, you can change the value here. Let's say now to this corner. Let's say 143 and hide this. It's already here because it's greater than value. And if you put less than, so increase, it's transported to 143 index of the grid node. Okay, so this is one way to use the sample index. You can so know that the output of sample index is a geometry's property, okay, based on the index value, and with that you can control another object's properties. So here you are just taking the value output. There is no geometry output. So the output of this particular node should always be used in another geometry context. Otherwise, it's not meaningful. Okay. So yeah, that's it about the sample index node. If you find this video useful, please like it, share it with your friends. If you want me to cover any specific topic in Blender geometry nodes, please let me know in the comment section. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comment section as well. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in another cool video. Thank you. Bye.